5 British SPG based on the Valentine 2. It's located on the eastbourne of Airfield, and it's under the command of WoodyAmsterdam. And yes, you may know Woody under a different name because he lost his account because it got taken over by somebody else who got his password. Used to be known as Photobomber. At least I think it was Photobomber. Okay, it's a 4.5-inch howitzer capable of 450 alpha, and it'll penetrate through 28 millimeters of armor, and it's got a 2.2 meters burst radius. It's the same howitzers you'll find on the Burt and also on the Crusader 5.5-inch SP as the stock gun. Now, yes, it's the Valentine 2 hull, the same hull that was used or sent to the Soviet Union right at the start, well, not start of their war in 1941. Of course, a lot of people came into the war rather late, you could say. Well, Britain have been fighting Germany since 1939. But yes, a lot of people turned up in 1941, and one of those was the Soviets. Of course, the Americans also turned up in 1941, but after they were attacked by Japan. Well, there's the first enemy shell. It was aimed at RKV-1. WoodyAmsterdam's moved himself forward. And let's see, has he got shots on the enemy? Oh, he has! And look at this, 2 KV-2s! Now, are they in platoon? Yes, they are. And now they're suffering. That shot hit the turret right next to the mantlet. In fact, there are 3 KV-2s out there. I'm not sure if you're allowed to do that. That's like breaking the rules. That's like having 3 artillery all platoon together. I seem to recall that Wargaming banned that. Why have they allowed 3 KV-2s to platoon? Well, because the KV-2 is a tank and Wargaming doesn't want to do anything that will hurt their tank players, but they're quite prepared to stop Arty from platooning together. That's another direct hit. Yes, they're quite happy to let Arty be denied a platoon. I always remember it was actually great fun to platoon 3 Arty. I remember seeing the Salty Jedi, Sir Havoc, and somebody else, I can't remember who it was, platooning in Fifis, and they literally tore the enemy to shreds. Not much they could do to stop those guys tearing the enemy a new posterior. Okay, he just missed the Leopard, but he can definitely get this KV-1S. In fact, the enemy heavies are all lining up in this corner. Standard reload, 12.37 seconds. And we can see that Woody has got a reload of 10.42. So he's knocked off 2 seconds off the reload time. And that means that he can keep these guys almost perma-tracked. He didn't track him there, but he did do some severe damage. 83 hit points off the last shot. Let's see if he can get a kill with this one. Not yet. He's not reached the point at which he can absolutely wipe that guy out with a penetration. But he's doing the right thing. He's aiming for the engine deck. Because, of course, the engine deck is very thin. They always put the armour at the front of the vehicle. Makes most tanks top heavy, at the front heavy. Yes, the engine deck has relatively little armour. Which, of course, is something they've exploited in the current war that's going on. Because, of course, they now get attacked from above from missiles that penetrate the top of the tank, not the sides. Speaking of that other war, by the way, I don't know if you've heard this, but apparently Russia did a deal with North Korea to actually get hold of artillery shells. And unfortunately, the North Koreans are not very good at making artillery shells, and a huge number of their shells have actually failed in combat. Apparently, the shells either blow up in the tube, that is, they load them into the tube and they literally detonate there and then, or they've actually fire them, when they fire the shell, instead of actually going out the tube and reaching a target, it actually just blows up in the tube itself and blows the whole thing to smithereens. But the funniest thing of all is the Russians are complaining, even the Russian soldiers are complaining, that apparently the shells are not loaded with a consistent amount of charge. And so instead of actually flying the distance and hitting enemy targets, they're actually going all over the place. They're not actually going in the direction that they should be going. Oh, we got an enemy just behind us. A SP1C. Auto aim on. Well, he got him anyway, but the normal practice would be, under those circumstances, auto aim on quickly, and then you can get the hits. So that's the first kill for Woody. So anyway, these shells, these 152mm shells that the Soviets, or so it's the Russians, have bought from the North Koreans, they're all duds. Well, at least not all of them are duds, but it means that apparently not many of their shells are actually working. And a lot of the Russians are very upset that they thought that they were getting a huge supply of artillery shells, and it turns out none of them work. Well, not all of them, but most of them just don't work. Okay, so we're left with 5 on each side, and the enemy actually appears to have their tanks down in the south. We've just been spotted. Now, somebody spotted us coming out of that cap area, and somebody's firing at us. In fact, it's the Type T-34. Now, if he's smart, he'll actually get behind the bush again, get into the bush, and we'll take the guy out. He fires snap. Oh, he got him! He got him with a snap! I normally say don't snap because it doesn't normally work, but it did work on this occasion. And look at this. We got a Churchill 1 trying to get down the cliff the hard way. It didn't track him, but let's see what he can do with this one. Well, he fires one snap in. Didn't see that one hit. So quite interesting notes. I know that some of you don't want to talk about what's going on in the war, but in many instances, a lot of people do want to hear about the latest advances in shells and artillery, and they're quite surprised because they probably didn't hear about all the trouble that the Russians are having with their new shells, breaking sanctions by dealing with North Korea. But the fact of the matter is now that they're in double difficulty, because they were banking on all of these shells being supplied to them and then enabling them to fight against the Ukrainians. But apparently these shells just don't work. Of course, the other problem that we have is that there's just not enough manufacturing capacity for the 155mm shells. And some of those shells are located or stockpiled in South Korea for any eventual war with North Korea. And a lot of people are now thinking that there might be a provocation by North Korea which starts another war. Oh, he assumed that the Jackson would still be there, which is a correct assumption, but the Jackson pulled away as quickly as he could. So obviously the Jackson driver knows that you've got to get away from a position in which you were hit to avoid getting hit again. Now, the enemy Arty in this game is a VP, which has similar accuracy to the Bishop, but much more range, and a faster fire rate, of course. It's amazing that that Woody has actually taken out 2 tanks already that actually saw him during the game. Now he's looking for the enemy Arty. He's aiming at the last site that he saw that they were seen, which is a correct assumption. You should use the minimap for that purpose. There's the Jackson just behind the rock. Now, The moment he comes after the AT2, the Jackson's got a 90mm, so he can probably get through the frontal armor of an AT2. Well, he can definitely get through the cupola, but he probably doesn't want to poke out, because if he does get tracked... So Woody's decided to go off to one side, outflank the guy, get to a position 90 degrees perpendicular to the rock, so that he can actually shoot behind the rock where the Jackson's hiding, because the Jackson is thinking tactically, I must stay away from the AT2's gun, but he should be thinking about this tank instead. Hello! Oh, he missed! Now, he has got a fairly fast reload, but auto aim on. Oh, we took a hit from the Fifi, but we got him with the second shot. Didn't miss that one. But we lost the AT2, and now we've been struck by the Fifi. In fact, he used the heat round on us and failed. No, it's a heat round because A, the explosion's different, and the tracer is a different color as well, but also because it was 350. The block shell must have hit the tracks and did 350. And so that must be a heat round with the different tracer. The AP tracer actually does not have the same trace as the heat round. But now it's Arty versus Arty, and it's who's going to be quicker. Now, he hasn't lost any hit points yet. Or has he? Yes, it is showing 460s. So they've both got the same amount. Now, again, he's doing the right thing. Outflank the enemy, come up on a different side to him. He's hiding behind a rock. And if Woody comes up from a different direction, side on to the target, then he'll get a shot at the target without the target realizing that he was there. In fact, he won't see him until the last moment. But the trick is actually to auto aim onto the target to get an accurate shot. Now, can you see him? He's got only a view range of only 250 meters, whereas the Fifi's got a view range of 390 meters. Can't see him at the moment, and he hasn't been spotted. No sixth sense has gone off. I guess he's counting now on the Fifi making a mistake and popping out into view. It could be that the Fifi has actually moved into the cap area, only a short distance away, to await the arrival of the Bishop. Now, he's put himself behind cover, but the thing there is you can't see where you're looking, so you can't see the target. He's now firing blind. No, because he fired that at the bush because he thought that the Fifi would be hiding there. But the Fifi would just sit in the bush, behind the bush, and he would have been spotted 390 meters. That's the 2-minute mark. Now remember, the armor on a Bishop is actually quite strong on the front. The gun shield, or rather the casement around the vehicle, is where it's strong, it's weakest, because that's very thin armor. He spotted him. There he is. And he actually did change position. Now, who's going to be getting the more accurate shot? Yes! It's Woody. And he gets the kill and wins the game for his team. Here's the end of battle results. And that was the first ace tanker for WoodyAmsterdam in the Bishop. Now, it's not the first ace tanker he really has had, because he's got another account and he has had aces in that one. It's the first ace that he's had on this account, and it is special because, of course, he's had to work his way up from the bottom all over again. You can tell it's the first ace because he got scrolls underneath, and you only get that the first time. He also got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He did get 4 exactly. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 15 in this one. He got a Starks medal. He actually managed to kill at least 2 enemy tanks, received at least 2 hits from the enemy, potentially lost 2/3 of his hit points, and was still alive at the end of the game. And on top of that, he got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. And his win rate was 10,254, which is super unicum and a lot more. Let's have a look at team score and see where he was. Well, we can see the highest damage was 2,708 hit points. Second highest damage was the Fifi on the enemy team, got a Confederate, and he got 2,479 hit points. And the third highest damage, well, that went to the T-3485 on Woody's team, who got 1,609. Just beating the Jackson on the enemy team with 1,504, and he got a Top Gun. When it came to kills, yes, we can see the Jackson 6 kills in that game. Very effective, but he did get hit by Woody. 4 kills went to Woody, so he's in second place on that one. 3 kills went to the 82 on Woody's team. And when it came to base XP, Woody got that one too. 1,107 went to Woody, the only player to get over 1,000 base on his team. And in fact, the second highest was the 82 with 805. And the third highest on base XP turned out to be the enemy Fifi, because yes, he did a huge amount of damage. So his score bumped up over the SU-100M1 on the winning team. And so he gets third place. He fired 30 shots. Now, the Bishop only has 39, so he still had 9 rounds left at the end of the game. He got 18 direct hits on the enemy and 3 penetrating shots and 18 splash. Let's have a quick look to see which ones he penetrated in the game. Well, I suspect he penetrated the Fifi, yes, because in fact it looks like the shell actually hit the gun shield and took out the Fifi, and that would have given him a penetrating shot of around about 450, which meant it would have overwhelmed the Fifi with just 1 round. The SP1C was a fairly close shot, and again, it's another light tack with thin armor, and he went right through that guy. And I suspect that he actually, yes, the Jackson, 510 hit points on 1 penetrating shot. So he took out the second best player and the best player on the enemy team during that game. He also got 2,708 hit points of damage, of which 1,872 were at more than 300 meters. So there was some close range shooting in that game. Obviously, the SP1C, the Type T-34, and also the Fifi when he got close to him, and the Jackson. Well, yes, he did get very close to the Jackson, fluffed the first shot because he didn't get the lead exactly right, but he got the second shot in because the Jackson by then was too engrossed with the AT2 and didn't actually realize who was looking at him from a short distance away. He received 3 hits, 1 penetrating shot, 2 non-penetrating shots, and one of those non-penetrating shots was a heat round from the Fifi for 350 hit points, and it was blocked, I suspect, by the tracks. 9 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 were killed, and he got 1 hit point of damage assistance in that game. I can't think who actually he earned that from, but it's just 1 hit point anyway. On a premium account, look at this, I can't believe this. 559,995 credits from 1 game. Yep, that's the sort of credits you would earn from 2 frontline games. But it's all down to the bonus that he received of 513,910. He did well off his battle score and his personal reserves, but that bonus is a massive one. And yes, so well done for that score. 25 bonds for a mission achievement, and he took away 9,666 XP. Another big mission bonus for 7176. Now, what a game that was. Very impressive. Well done, Woody, showing he's lost none of his skill when it comes to the Bishop. Obviously, we've seen him in it before, or using his other account, and he's done well on those occasions. But this time, he did absolutely superb. So, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.